A letter to the young 20-something change the world educator from someone who was like you 17 years in the future. Hello, so you're all fired up to get into education? That's amazing, good for you. Don't listen to anyone around you that tells you that the work isn't worthwhile. Ignore those who tell you that you could be doing something much better for yourself. Look past those people who try to convince you that the work that you are doing is not going to amount to anything. See, I was in your shoes at the turn of the millennium. You know, about 7 years before any phone was considered smart. Back in 2000, my education program fired me up. And just like you, I entered education with one goal in mind: to change the lives of many students in need, and in doing so, leave my lasting imprint in the lives of many. I had the time and energy in the world, and nothing was going to stop me. My fire and passion drew me, as I hope it does you, to one of the most challenging high schools in the state, and dare I say the country. A school where many teachers had lost their drive, and student apathy and rebellion was prevalent throughout the campus. I saw the dysfunction firsthand and thought to myself, this is where I want to be. I hope you find that place for you as well. A place where you work, your work has an immediate impact on the students you interact with. Just be aware that the road ahead is a very challenging one. Your first year of teaching will be like learning how to ride a bike, where you fall down for about 180 days straight. And in this case, the bike might throw something at you, demand that you work 25 out of 24 hours in a day, insult you in a way that rocks you to your core, and just when you're starting to get it, the bike is going to fall apart and you have to start all over again. It may be one of the most challenging and seemingly never-ending journeys of your life, but hang in there. I promise you, you're doing the right thing. And if you're in doubt, just ask your students. Even the toughest ones recognize that you care for them, and some of them will become your biggest fans. Now, after your first year, take the summer off. Your school might need teachers to work over the summer, and usually they go after the new teachers to fill those assignments. Don't do it. For the sake of your longevity as an instructor, resist. If you must work, start planning on the following year. That will infinitely benefit you as a teacher. Enjoy the beginning of your second year. There is no greater feeling of improving as a teacher than from going from first to second year. You may not have realized it, but throughout your incessant battle to survive your first year, you learned a tremendous amount. But the culture in your classroom had been so established that your newly found skills do not take effect until you start fresh your second year. So go ahead, be more firm with your students. Hold them to higher expectations, both academically and with discipline. Use a selected few effective teaching strategies that you learned last year and give them a solid try. I know it's hard to see that what you read in a book actually works in practice, but try them out. Many of them actually do. Now here's one of my other important pieces of advice. At this point, if you haven't already, build your circle of confidants. Do not be afraid to connect with those around you, especially those in your department. It's impossible to make a lasting change in this profession by yourself. So start working on surrounding yourself with those that have a similar vision that you do. You will need a support group, and they will need one too. And whether you drink or not, go out to some happy hours and socialize with your team, because the bonds you build herewith will help you through some of the most challenging endeavors. Go out with your team and regroup potential new teachers to your school. Your goal is to have as many teachers as possible that share your students' first approach to instruction. This will help making those teachers who lost their drive, they might start feeling a little uneasy. And who knows, if they leave their position, then that's going to open for you the opportunity to find a committed person to take their place. Then in a blink of an eye, a few years will pass, and no matter what grade level you teach, you're going to start seeing some of your students graduate. And with gratitude filling their eyes, they'll express to you what it meant for you to be their teacher. Yeah, at that point, it's over. You're going to want a whole lot more of that. I would like to say there's no reward higher, but there is. The years following, you're probably going to want to be itching to create change on a grander scale. I hope you held on tight to your allies, because you might want to start getting involved in committees, take on AP classes, support discipline at the school, be a department chair. That's great. But like I said earlier, trying to do that by yourself is impossible. So some of you, make sure that you bring those people that you trust with you alongside you as you go into these next steps in your career. One of the challenges here is that you might be praised and might fall for the allure of being praised for all the work that you've done outside the classroom. But don't you ever forget your mission. Students first. Not only should you be, that should be your personal driving force, but the driving force of any committee that you're involved in. Now, before you know it, you're going to start hitting your 30s. There's a good chance that your priorities are going to change, whether it be living on your own, meeting that special someone and planning a wedding, having children, having a mortgage, moving to administration, or even changes in your personal health or the health of those close to you. At some point, you're going to have to give yourself, your family, and your friends more time than what you're used to. Being that for many years, you gave it all to your school. The vigor and fire is still going to go burn bright, but it's going to just be spread across a broader scope in your life. And if you prepared well, the job will still be tough, but you will be able to be much more efficient at inspiring your students than you were when you started. To be successful at this job for over a long period of time, you must be a child at heart. How else are you going to connect with your students? No matter what road your career takes you, if you are involved in education in any way, shape, or form, find a way to maintain a bond with those who you serve. So I applaud you. I applaud you for taking on this career. And as far as greater rewards come, you might have former students that will become engineers, scientists, teachers, counselors, lawyers, because it's all happened to me. You might have your former students telling their kids how you influenced them. Your potential is infinite. Congratulations on joining such a noble profession. We can't wait to feel the waves that you will produce. Thank you very much.